Have you ever sat in a quiet room and wondered why life feels so different after 60? Not worse. Not over. Just different. The house may be quieter now. The phone may not ring as much as it used to. The children may be grown, busy with their own lives. Friends you once saw every week may now live far away, move slower, or no longer be here. And sometimes, when the evening comes, you may ask yourself a question you do not say out loud. Does anyone still really see me? Most people talk about retirement like it is one long vacation. They talk about free time, sunny mornings, grandkids, hobbies, and peace. But they rarely talk about the silence that can come after. They rarely talk about waking up with no schedule. They rarely talk about missing the version of yourself who is needed every day. Maybe you have felt this too. And if you have, this video is for you. Because life after 60 is not the end of your story. In many ways, it is the chapter where you finally understand what the story was really about. Across America, in small towns, busy cities, quiet suburbs, and old neighborhoods, millions of seniors are learning the same truth. Aging changes your life. But it does not take away your worth. There is a woman named Grace in Ohio. She is 72. For more than 40 years, she worked as a school secretary. Every morning, children walked past her desk. Teachers came to her with problems. Parents called her by name. She knew birthdays, bus routes, lunch schedules, and which child needed a kind word before class. Then she retired. At first, people said, "You must be so happy now. You can finally relax." And she smiled, because that is what people expected. But after a few months, the quiet started to feel heavy. No school bell. No hallway noise. No one asking, "Mrs. Grace, can you help me?" One morning, she sat at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee that had gone cold. The sun was coming through the window, but she felt invisible. And this is the part nobody talks about. After 60, many people do not miss the work itself. They miss being useful. They miss being part of someone's day. They miss having a reason to get dressed, step outside, and hear their name spoken with warmth. But Grace's story did not end at that kitchen table. One day, her neighbor asked if she could help watch her little boy for an hour after school. Grace said yes. That 1 hour became 2 afternoons a week. Then she started helping him read. Then another neighbor asked. Then a church friend asked if she could help with a children's book table on Saturdays. Slowly, Grace discovered something. Her job had ended. But her gift had not. That is the first lesson many seniors learn after 60. You may leave a job, but you do not leave your purpose behind. Purpose does not always look big. Sometimes it looks like calling a lonely friend. Sometimes it looks like teaching a grandchild how to cook. Sometimes it looks like watering plants, feeding a pet, volunteering once a week, or simply being the calm voice in a family that moves too fast. Before you ignore this, think about your own life for a moment. What is one thing people have always come to you for? Your advice? Your patience? Your cooking? Your humor? Your faith? Your stories? That may be where your next purpose begins. There is also a man named Robert in Texas. He is 68. He spent most of his life driving a delivery truck. He knew the roads better than most people knew their own living rooms. He was strong, dependable, and proud. But after retirement, his days became too open. His wife noticed he stopped telling stories. His daughter called and said, "Dad, are you okay?" He always answered the same way. "I'm fine." But he was not fine. And many men, especially older men, know this feeling. They were taught to keep going, to provide, to fix things, to stay strong, to not complain. So when life slows down, they do not always know what to do with their feelings. Robert did not need someone to lecture him. He needed someone to sit with him. One morning, he went to a small diner near his home. He sat alone, ordered eggs and coffee, and watched other older men laugh at a corner table. The next week, he went again. This time, one of them said, "You always sit alone. Come join us." That simple invitation changed his life. They talked about football, old cars, their wives, their aches, their memories, and the friends they missed. Robert began to understand something he had never said before. Loneliness is not weakness. Loneliness is a sign that the heart still wants connection. That is the second lesson. After 60, you do not need a crowd, but you do need connection. One honest conversation can do more for the soul than 100 busy days alone. Call someone. Join a group. Go back to a place where people recognize your face. Say yes to coffee. Say yes to church lunch. Say yes to the community center. Say yes to the neighbor who waves from across the street. Because sometimes, the smallest change after 60 can bring back peace. Now think about a woman named Elaine in Florida. She is 76. Her husband passed away 3 years ago. For 51 years, she cooked for two, planned for two, watched television for two, and made decisions with another voice in the room. After he was gone, everyone came around at first. There were flowers, meals, phone calls, family visits. Then life moved on. But Elaine's grief did not move on at the same speed. Some mornings, she still turned to say something to him. Some nights, she still reached for the other side of the bed. People told her, "You're strong." But strong does not mean you are not hurting. Strong means you keep breathing while your heart learns how to live differently. What happened next is something many older adults quietly understand. Elaine began writing letters to her husband. Not every day. Just when the house felt too quiet. She told him about the weather, about the neighbor's dog, about their grandson's graduation, about how much she missed his laugh. At first, it made her cry. Then it started to help her heal. She was not pretending he was still there. She was honoring the love that had shaped her life. That is the third lesson. After 60, healing does not always mean forgetting. Sometimes healing means carrying love in a new way. There is no perfect timeline for grief. There is no age when your heart is supposed to stop missing someone. But there can still be beauty after loss. A garden can still bloom. A song can still bring comfort. A meal can still taste good. A sunrise can still feel like a gift. And yes, laughter can return without betraying the person you miss. But here is what many seniors discover too late. They spend years believing their best days are behind them, when some of their most meaningful days are still waiting quietly ahead. Not loud days. Not busy days. Meaningful days. A phone call that heals an old wound. A new friendship at the library. A walk that clears the mind. A family dinner where someone finally listens. A moment when a grandchild asks, "What was life like when you were young?" And suddenly, your memories become treasure. There is a retired nurse named Margaret in Pennsylvania. She is 81. Her hands are slower now, but her mind is full of stories. She remembers patients, night shifts, babies being born, families praying in hospital hallways. She saw people at their weakest and still believed in kindness. For years, her family thought they knew her. But one Thanksgiving, her granddaughter asked, "Grandma, what was the hardest thing you ever learned?" The table went quiet. Margaret thought for a moment and said, "That life is shorter than we think, and pride wastes too much of it." No one forgot that. Her words stayed in the room long after dessert was finished. That is the fourth lesson. After 60, your life experience is not old news. It is wisdom. You have lived through things younger people are only beginning to understand. You have lost and kept going. You have loved and sacrificed. You have made mistakes and learned. You have seen money come and go. You have watched children grow. You have buried dreams and built new ones. Do not believe that your voice no longer matters. It may matter more now than ever. But wisdom must be shared gently. Not as control. Not as criticism. Not as, I know better than you. But as a gift. Say, here is what life taught me. Say, I made this mistake, and I hope you do not have to. Say, I am proud of you. Say, I love you. Those words may heal more than you know. And there is one more lesson that may be the most important. After 60, peace becomes more valuable than proving a point. There comes a time when you realize not every argument needs your energy. Not every person deserves access to your heart. Not every old wound needs to be reopened. You can forgive without pretending it never hurt. You can set boundaries without being cruel. You can choose quiet without being lonely. You can choose joy without explaining it. Maybe life after 60 is not about becoming someone new. Maybe it is about returning to the parts of yourself that life made you put away. The part that loved music. The part that liked sitting outside. The part that wanted to paint, travel, pray, read, dance, garden, cook, build, write, or simply breathe without rushing. You are still here. And that means your story is still being written. Not by your age. Not by your aches. Not by the people who forgot to call. Not by the mirror. Not by the past. Your story is still being written by the choices you make today. Maybe today you make one phone call. Maybe today you step outside for fresh air. Maybe today you write down one memory. Maybe today you forgive yourself for something you have carried too long. Maybe today you stop saying, "It is too late." Because it is not too late to feel peace. It is not too late to make a friend. It is not too late to be useful. It is not too late to laugh again. It is not too late to tell your story. Life after 60 may be quieter, but quiet does not mean empty. Sometimes quiet is where you finally hear your own heart. Sometimes quiet is where God, memory, love, and wisdom meet. And sometimes, the years after 60 become the years when you stop chasing what does not matter and start holding what does. Family, peace, health, faith, friendship, kindness, gratitude, a good morning, a warm meal, a familiar song, a hand to hold, a story worth telling. So if you are over 60, over 70, or even older, please hear this clearly. You are not a burden. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. You are a living library of lessons, love, strength, and memories. And someone, somewhere, needs what you still carry. Maybe your children need your forgiveness. Maybe your grandchildren need your stories. Maybe a neighbor needs your kindness. Maybe another lonely person needs your hello. And maybe you need to remind yourself that your life still has meaning. Not someday. Today. If this message touched your heart, subscribe to Senior Life Chronicles. And in the comments, tell us one lesson life taught you after 60. Your story may help someone else feel less alone. And if you know a senior, a parent, a grandparent, or a friend who needs to hear this, share this video with them. Because sometimes, one gentle message can remind a person that their life still matters. And yours does. More than you know.